This is the simple method to read and follow your emotions, to tap into your emotional guidance system, to align with your proper path, your dharma, and your purpose, okay? So I talked about this in the last video, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more breadth, a little bit more detail here, gonna elucidate it further. The emotions that we feel are there to move us forward. What is an emotion? Emotion is energy in motion. An emotion is energy that is meant to push you into a certain direction, okay? Now, you have the two positive and negative emotions, right? Even though it's all positive emotions, just at different degrees, different levels, different frequencies. You can also say emotions are vibration, all things are vibration. But you have positive and negative emotions. Negative emotions are more visceral, they're more memorable. They are very simple, just like positive emotions. Negative emotions are there to tell you that you are going in the wrong direction or something is out of alignment. Negative emotions are a signal. Emotions themselves are signals. It's like a fire alarm. It's negative emotions. It's an alert. And so if you have chronic negative emotional states, mood disorders, that is alerting you to something, that either there is something happening in the present moment, something that has been unprocessed in the past, or something that is generational or linked to a past life, okay? We think everything, all the trauma, all the negative energy has to be sourced in this incarnation. No, it can be inherited from past, previous generations. It can also be carried over from past lives. This is what we call karma, reincarnation. So negative emotions are telling you that something is out of alignment. And so that could either be, you have to change your present circumstances, you need to change your habits, your actions, you need to reorient yourself. Usually it means that there's something going on inside of yourself. And so there's always going to be a part of yourself that is resonating with that negative emotion, that is keeping that energy reinforcing itself. So there'll be an aspect of your being, a part of yourself, a subpersonality that is holding on to that grief, that depression, that shame, that anger, that fear, insecurity, pride, whatever it may be. Desire. Different parts of yourself will hold these different negative emotions or resonate with these different emotional states, these different frequencies, these different vibrations. And so what your job is to do is to figure out what is the source, the energetic source of this negative emotion. How is it being fueled in real time? Because the negative emotion is always going to manifest itself in some form of behavior, chronic illness, symptom, whatever it may be, external manifestation, internal just discomfort, body tension. How is that negative emotion reinforcing itself and manifesting itself in the present moment? And then integrating that energy and dissipating it so it can reach an equilibrium state. You want to dissipate, you want to process it, you want to integrate that negative emotional state and heal the subpersonality, the aspect of your psyche, the aspect of your being that is out of alignment, that is incongruent. When it comes to positive emotions are actually even simpler than negative emotions. They just mean keep doing what you're doing. And like I said in the last video, do not conflate pleasure, cravings, and desire. Those are negative emotions, not positive emotions, because they come from a sense of lack. Really, all negative emotions is rooted in separation and feelings of lack, insecurity, having not enough, fear, right? And all positive emotions are abundance, unity, connection to source, to other people, to creation, being in alignment, being present, being in a state of flow. These are positive emotions. I almost said negative emotions. These are positive emotions. So positive emotion just means keep doing what you're doing. Joy, peace, love, courage, willingness, right? Unity, bliss. Hey, you're on the right path. Continue doing what you're doing. And so when you cultivate your positive emotions and start aligning yourself with activities and environments and people that elicit more positive emotions, the negative emotions, you're all on the right path, you're moving in the proper direction. And if you're in environments or amongst people or doing actions or in a career or job, whatever it is, that elicits more negative emotions, well, that means you're out of alignment. That means you're on the wrong path. You're going in the wrong direction. And so you need to reorient yourself, okay? And also with positive emotions, it's really, really important with positive emotions to be able to tap into that frequency, tap into that energy. And so having proper reference experiences on deck, meaning looking in your past to see what events or what memories are most strongly tied to, say, joy, peace, love, congruence, courage, willingness, acceptance, positive bliss. If I didn't already say that, bliss is a big one. What memories and events and parts of your life and even parts of your being, right? Because you have, the higher self, you have your inner warrior, you have different aspects of your being that are also tied to and attached to positive emotions, like you have different aspects of your being that are tied to negative emotions. And once you start having those reference experiences, you can bring them up when you want to start feeling more positive emotions to raise your vibration. Positive emotions are operating at a higher vibration, negative emotions at a lower vibration. Okay? That also means that there's blockages as well. If you have a lot of negative emotions, that means that there's blockages happening. Because the positive emotions, believe it or not, that is the default. That is the natural state of being. Because it's unity, it's abundance, it's infinite. That is all of creation. All of creation is infinite. It is everything you'd ever need, anyone would ever need, because it's infinite by definition. It is boundless. So positive emotions are actually the default. The negative emotions are when it's incongruence or when there's blockages happening, or when there's a weight, there's an obstruction happening, okay? And positive emotions also means that you're in alignment, that you're on your path, you're in your dharma. And again, it should feel effortless. Time should go by quickly. It should feel smooth and fluid, okay? And there should be less friction, less effort happening. It should feel like you could be exerting a lot of energy because your path might call for that, but it won't feel like that. Like if you're even thinking about like playing a strenuous game that you love, like I don't know, if you were playing like basketball or football whenever you're a kid, right? Or you're playing games when you're a kid, you're running around, you're exerting a lot of energy, but it doesn't feel like effort. There's not friction there because you're in a state of flow, you're present, you're in the moment. Even though you're expending a lot of energy, you're doing something that's quote unquote strenuous or effortful, and that's not a word, but you get the point, effortful, it feels effortless. The feeling is what matters. You could also be doing nothing. You could just be sitting in a room in solitary confinement in a jail and you're exerting no energy, but it's excruciating. There's a lot of friction, there's a lot of tension there, right? It's not effortless, it's the opposite. A lot of suffering's happening there, but you're not exerting a lot of energy. So don't conflate effortless with energy exertion or energy expenditure. Those are two different things. Just like how physical pain is not the same as suffering, and suffering is not the pain as physical pain. Okay? Those are two distinct things, those are different things. Because you can feel positive emotions while going through something that's strenuous or painful, like working out, exercising, getting stronger, doing something difficult, but it's fun while you're doing it, even though it might be painful. Okay? So listen to your emotions. Your internal emotional guidance system is going to steer you in the right. The emotions are never wrong. That's another thing too. Your emotional reactions are never wrong. Now, the source of your emotional reactions, you might have a distortion or a misrepresentation of the true source of your negative emotions, meaning you might encounter somebody and they might trigger a negative emotion, but your emotional response might be rooted in something in the past. So the source of your emotional states, whether positive or negative, might be misrepresented from your perspective, but it's always coming from somewhere. It's not delusional. It's not energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. It can only be channeled. The energy is coming from somewhere. So it has a source, especially the negative emotions that are reinforcing themselves constantly, remanifesting themselves in many different shapes or forms and getting triggered because your higher self is trying to alert you to the fact that those negative emotions need to be processed. And so it'll manifest things into your life to trigger those negative emotions, to bring it into your awareness, to remind you, hey, this needs to be done. Just like you hit the snooze button, the alarm's gonna go up again, and it's gonna be more and more painful and louder and longer and longer until you wake the fuck up. Same thing with negative emotions. It's to wake the fuck up. Your smoke detector alarm system. So with that, focusing on your emotions, knowing that they're never wrong, they're coming from somewhere, they're meant to teach you something, and if you're feeling negative emotions, trust them. Trust your intuition, trust your emotional guidance system. Trust, hey, if I'm feeling negative, it's not because I'm broken or because chemical imbalance or I'm just wrong no, that is coming from somewhere. And you need to find out where the true source is to integrate it. And this is done through inner work. Also, you can do therapy, you can do meditation, do yoga. There's many different modalities. It depends on the individual, but it's not going to be solved with medication or just like positive affirmations or like surface level bullshit, right? Now, positive affirmations or medication might be important temporarily. I'm not going to say that, they have no purpose. Of course, they have a purpose, and they can be very helpful for many people, but it's not a final fix, right? There's a reason why you have to take medication, especially for mood disorders, right? For the DSM-5 disorders they like to label people with. That is a lifelong illness from their perspective. There is no cure. Whether that's by design is up to you to decide. But the point is that, it's not a permanent solution. These medications or these surface level things, or even exercising, even doing external things, you got to go internal to find that source. The source will be inside and then be reflected externally. So if you want help with that, to tap into your emotional guidance system, to follow your intuition, and to heal the parts of yourself that are holding on to and reinforcing the negative emotional states, and also start accessing and reinforcing the reference experiences that are attached to your positive emotions, I have a transformation guide you can get down below at amirthealchemist.com that gives you a step-by-step process of doing that. And you can also do a free trial. So check it out. Thank you.